Whitney Houston was called irrelevant by a young singer. 10 seconds later, the singer asked for her mentorship. The unveiling of arrogance. The air backstage at the annual Stellar Music Awards was a vibrant tapestry of nervous energy, glittering ambition, and the faint scent of hairspray and expensive cologne. Maya Rodriguez, a supernova in the making, navigated the labyrinthine corridors with the practiced ease of someone who already felt she belonged at the top. At 22, her debut album had shattered streaming records, her voice a potent blend of raw power and ethereal vulnerability that had captivated millions. She was the darling of the moment, the face plastered on every music magazine, the voice dominating every playlist. And she knew it. Tonight was her night. Nominated for 3 major awards, Maya felt an almost incandescent glow emanating from within her. She was dressed in a custom-made gown that shimmered like liquid starlight, her hair styled in an intricate updo, and her smile, though genuine, held a hint of the fierce confidence that bordered on arrogance. She was surrounded by her entourage, a publicist, a stylist, a manager, all buzzing with the same electric anticipation. As they rounded a corner, heading towards the green room where she was scheduled for a pre-show interview, the path was momentarily blocked by a small cluster of people. At its center stood a woman whose presence commanded attention without demanding it. Her elegance was timeless, her smile warm, and her eyes, even from a distance, held a depth that spoke of 1,000 stories. It was Whitney Houston. Whitney, a legend whose voice had soundtracked generations, was a guest presenter that evening, a revered icon whose occasional public appearances were treated with the reverence usually reserved for royalty. To Maya, however, Whitney was a relic. A magnificent, undeniable relic, but a relic nonetheless. Maya's generation, steeped in the instant gratification of viral hits and social media metrics, often struggled to grasp the enduring power of a legacy built brick by painstaking brick over decades. Maya's publicist, a harried woman named Brenda, leaned in. "That's Whitney Houston, Maya. A true legend. Maybe we should go over and say hello, pay our respects." Maya barely glanced in Whitney's direction. Her gaze was fixed on her phone, scrolling through the latest trending topics, her own name undoubtedly among them. "Whitney Houston," she mused, a slight dismissive curl to her lip. "Yeah, I know who she is. My mom used to play her records. She was huge, back in the day." Brenda's smile faltered. "She is huge, Maya. Her influence is immeasurable." Maya scoffed, a soft, almost imperceptible sound, but one that carried a surprising weight of youthful disdain. "Influence, sure. But relevant? I mean, when was her last #1? The industry moves fast, Brenda. You're either on top, or you're history." She punctuated the last word with a shrug, as if the concept of being history was akin to being forgotten, irrelevant. The words, though not spoken directly to Whitney, hung in the air, carried by the hushed reverence of the backstage environment. Whitney, who had been chatting amiably with a stagehand, paused. Her head tilted almost imperceptibly, her eyes, those deep, knowing eyes, slowly turned towards Maya. There was no anger, no offense visible on her face, only a quiet, almost melancholic understanding. It was the look of someone who had seen it all, heard it all, and understood the fleeting nature of fame as well as the enduring power of true artistry. Maya, caught in the act of her casual dismissal, felt a sudden, inexplicable chill. Her confident smile wavered. Whitney's gaze was not accusatory, but it was piercing, seeing straight through the glittering facade to the raw, unformed artist beneath. In that moment, Maya felt a prickle of unease, a sudden awareness of her own youth and inexperience. The air around Whitney seemed to hum with an unspoken authority, a gravitas that Maya, for all her current success, simply did not possess. The silence stretched, thick and heavy. Maya's publicist looked mortified, her eyes darting between Maya and Whitney, silently pleading for the ground to swallow her whole. Maya's manager, usually quick with a quip, was uncharacteristically mute. Whitney, with a gentle, almost imperceptible nod, acknowledged Maya's presence, a gesture that was both gracious and utterly disarming. Then, she turned back to her conversation, her voice, when she spoke again, a soft, melodic murmur that seemed to fill the space with warmth. But the moment had been seared into Maya's consciousness. The casual dismissal, the legend's quiet acknowledgement, the sudden, stark realization of the chasm between fleeting fame and enduring legacy. It was a realization that hit her with the force of a physical blow. Her words, so flippant and thoughtless, echoed in her ears, sounding hollow and utterly foolish. 10 seconds. It felt like an eternity. 10 seconds from the moment her dismissive words left her lips to the moment Whitney's gaze met hers, and something profound shifted within Maya. The arrogance that had fueled her ascent suddenly felt like a flimsy shield, easily pierced. The weight of Whitney Houston's legacy, a legacy built on unparalleled vocal talent, emotional honesty, and a work ethic that defined an era, pressed down on her. She saw not a relic, but a titan. Not someone back in the day, but someone who defined the day and every day since. The sheer audacity of her own youthful ignorance washed over her, a wave of mortification so intense it made her stomach clench. Brenda, sensing the shift, gently tugged Maya's arm. "Come on, Maya, we need to get you to the interview." But Maya didn't move. Her eyes were still fixed on Whitney, who was now laughing softly at something the stagehand had said, her head thrown back in genuine mirth. The sound was pure, unadulterated joy, a sound that had once filled stadiums and touched millions of hearts. It was the sound of a woman utterly comfortable in her own skin, unburdened by the fleeting opinions of others. And in that moment, Maya knew. She knew she had made a terrible mistake. She knew she had spoken out of turn, out of ignorance, out of a shallow understanding of what true artistry and lasting impact truly meant. The glittering awards, the streaming numbers, the trending topics, they all suddenly seemed insignificant compared to the quiet dignity and profound presence of the woman before her. A desperate, urgent thought formed in her mind, pushing aside all the pre-show jitters and career ambitions. She needed to understand. She needed to learn. She needed to apologize. And she needed guidance. Without another thought, ignoring Brenda's frantic whispers and her manager's bewildered expression, Maya took a deep breath. Her heart pounded against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat of newfound humility and burgeoning respect. She walked purposefully towards Whitney Houston, her shimmering gown rustling softly, her mind set on a single, audacious request. The walk across the short distance felt like an odyssey. Each step Maya took was heavy with the weight of her recent words, her youthful hubris now a leaden burden. As she approached Whitney, the legend turned, her smile still gentle, her eyes still holding that profound, unreadable depth. There was no surprise in them, only a quiet expectation, as if she had known Maya would approach. "Ms. Houston," Maya began, her voice, usually so powerful and resonant, now barely a whisper, tinged with a tremor of nerves. I am so incredibly sorry." Whitney's smile softened further. "Sorry for what, dear?" Her voice was like warm honey, rich and melodious, carrying an inherent kindness that disarmed Maya completely. "For what I said," Maya stammered, her cheeks flushing crimson. She glanced back at her mortified publicist, who was now trying to make herself invisible behind a potted palm. About relevance. It was thoughtless. It was ignorant. It was disrespectful. I truly didn't mean it the way it sounded, but even if I did, it was wrong. You are everything. You are the reason so many of us even dream of singing." Whitney listened patiently, her gaze unwavering, her expression one of serene understanding. When Maya finished, breathless and on the verge of tears, Whitney simply nodded. "Youth often speaks before wisdom has a chance to catch up, child. It's a lesson we all learn, one way or another." The lack of anger, the complete absence of judgment, was almost more disarming than a reprimand would have been. It stripped away Maya's defenses, leaving her feeling utterly exposed and vulnerable. She had expected a cold shoulder, a sharp retort, or at the very least, a dismissive wave. Instead, she received grace. I've been so caught up in the numbers, the charts, the trends," Maya confessed, her voice gaining a little strength as she poured out her heart. "I forgot what it means to truly connect, to create something that lasts beyond a single season. Your music, it's timeless. It's etched into the soul of the world." Whitney's eyes twinkled. "And yours has the potential to be, too, Maya. You have a gift. A powerful one. I heard your album. You have a voice that can move mountains." The compliment, coming from Whitney Houston, felt like a benediction. It was a lifeline thrown to her in a moment of profound self-doubt. Maya's eyes widened, a flicker of hope replacing the shame. "But I feel like I'm missing something," Maya admitted, her gaze dropping to her shimmering gown, which suddenly felt like a costume rather than an extension of herself. "I feel empty sometimes, despite all the success. Like I'm chasing something I can't quite grasp." She looked up, her eyes pleading. "Miss Houston, I know this is audacious, especially after what I just said, but would you consider mentoring me? Even just a little? I want to learn from you. I want to understand what it means to be truly great, to have that kind of lasting impact." The request hung in the air, audacious and raw. Brenda, from behind the palm, let out a small, strangled gasp. Maya's manager looked like he might faint, but Whitney Houston simply regarded Maya with that same quiet, knowing gaze. A slow smile spread across Whitney's face, a genuine, radiant smile that lit up her eyes. "Mentorship, you say?" she mused, her voice soft. "It's a heavy word, child. It means opening yourself up, being willing to unlearn as much as you learn. It means facing truths about yourself that aren't always comfortable." Maya nodded eagerly, her heart pounding with a desperate hope. "I'm ready. I truly am. I need guidance. I need to understand the soul of the music, not just the mechanics of the industry." Whitney's gaze held hers for a long moment, assessing, considering. Then, she reached out a hand and gently touched Maya's arm. "All right, Maya Rodriguez. Let's talk. But not here, not now. Tonight is about celebrating music. Give me your number. We'll arrange something." Maya fumbled for her phone, her hands trembling slightly as she exchanged contact information with the legend. It felt surreal, like a dream. The woman she had just dismissed as irrelevant was now offering her a chance to learn, to grow, to truly understand the depth of her craft. As Whitney turned to leave, her publicist and manager finally daring to approach, Maya felt a profound sense of relief and an even deeper sense of awe. The immediate aftermath of her foolish words had been a crucible, burning away her superficial confidence and revealing a genuine hunger for knowledge and authenticity. She had faced her own arrogance, and in doing so, had opened a door to an opportunity she could never have imagined. "If you're finding this story as compelling as I am," Maya thought, almost as if narrating to an unseen audience, "you're probably wondering what happens next. This isn't just about music, it's about humility and growth." If you're enjoying this deep dive into music history, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more untold stories like Maya's. The thought was a quiet internal monologue, a reflection of the new, more introspective Maya already beginning to emerge. She watched Whitney walk away, her posture regal, her presence radiating an undeniable power. Maya knew, with absolute certainty, that her life had just irrevocably changed. The awards, the interviews, the red carpet, they all faded into the background. All that mattered now was the promise of a conversation, a lesson, a chance to learn from a true master. The journey from arrogance to aspiration had begun. The first meeting between Whitney and Maya took place not in a glitzy studio or a high-powered office, but in Whitney's surprisingly cozy home studio, tucked away in a quiet corner of her sprawling estate. It was a space filled with instruments, awards, and photographs that chronicled a legendary career, yet it felt warm and inviting, not intimidating. Maya arrived, still nervous, but with a newfound humility that had replaced her earlier swagger. Whitney greeted her with a warm hug, instantly putting her at ease. "No need for formalities, Maya. Call me Whitney." Their initial conversations were less about vocal technique and more about the philosophy of music. Whitney spoke of music as a spiritual endeavor, a conduit for emotion, a universal language. "Your voice is a gift, Maya," Whitney explained, her eyes serious. "But it's not just about hitting the notes. It's about what you put into those notes. It's about your truth, your pain, your joy, your hope. If you don't feel it, the audience won't either." Maya, accustomed to producers pushing for perfect pitch and marketable hooks, found Whitney's approach revolutionary. "But how do you find that truth?" she asked, genuinely perplexed. "How do you make every song feel like it's coming from the deepest part of you, even if you didn't write it?" Whitney smiled. "By living, child. By experiencing. by allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and by listening, really listening, to the lyrics, to the melody, to the silence between the notes. Every song has a story, and your job is to be its most honest storyteller. One afternoon, Whitney had Maya sing one of her own hit songs. Maya, confident in her performance, belted out the track with all her usual power. When she finished, Whitney simply nodded. Technically proficient, Maya. You hit every note. But where are you in it? Maya was taken aback. What do you mean? I heard the song. I heard the lyrics. But I didn't hear your heart. It was like watching a beautiful painting through a pane of glass. I could see it, but I couldn't feel its texture, its depth. You're holding back. You're performing, not expressing. This was a revelation. Maya had always believed her powerful delivery was her expression. Whitney challenged her to strip away the performance, to find the raw emotion beneath. She gave Maya exercises that weren't about vocal runs or breath control, but about emotional recall. She had Maya sing the same song, but this time, she asked her to close her eyes and remember a specific moment of heartbreak, or triumph, or longing. The results were astonishing. When Maya sang again, her voice, though perhaps less polished in its raw vulnerability, resonated with an undeniable authenticity. Tears welled in her eyes as she connected with the memory, and the song transformed from a catchy pop tune into a poignant ballad. There, Whitney whispered, her own eyes glistening. There's the truth. That's what people connect with. That's what lasts. Whitney also taught Maya about the business, but from a different perspective. Fame is a fickle friend, Maya, she cautioned. It gives you everything, and then it demands everything. You have to learn to protect your spirit, your voice, your peace. Don't let the industry define you. You define the industry with your art. She spoke of the importance of choosing the right material, of understanding the power of a lyric, of respecting the craft. She shared stories of her own struggles, her triumphs, her moments of doubt and resilience. She didn't sugarcoat the difficulties, but she always emphasized the enduring power of music and the responsibility that came with such a gift. Remember that feeling you had when you first heard a song that changed your life? Whitney asked one day, sipping tea in her garden. That's what you're striving for. To be that moment for someone else. It's not about the awards, Maya. It's about the connection. It's about the legacy you leave in people's hearts. Maya absorbed every word, every nuance. She began to see the music industry not as a ladder to be climbed, but as a vast ocean to be navigated with integrity and passion. Her initial arrogance had been replaced by a profound sense of gratitude and a burning desire to truly understand her craft. What do you think about Maya's initial arrogance and Whitney's incredible grace? Maya thought, reflecting on her journey. It's a powerful lesson in humility, isn't it? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts on how Whitney handled that moment. I'd love to hear your perspective. The mentorship wasn't just about singing, it was about life. Whitney taught Maya about resilience, about self-care, about the importance of surrounding herself with people who genuinely believed in her, not just her potential for profit. She taught her that true power came not from external validation, but from an unwavering belief in her own artistic voice. Maya was slowly, but surely, shedding the skin of the arrogant pop star and growing into the artist she was meant to be. Under Whitney's tutelage, Maya's transformation was profound and multifaceted. It wasn't just her vocal technique that evolved. It was her entire approach to music, to performance, and to herself. Whitney encouraged her to explore different genres, to listen to artists from various eras, and to understand the historical context of the music she loved. Maya spent hours delving into jazz, gospel, and soul, discovering the roots of the vocal stylings she had always admired but never fully understood. Whitney pushed Maya to write more, not necessarily for commercial release, but as an exercise in self-expression. Your own words, your own melodies, Whitney advised, are the purest reflection of your soul. Don't be afraid to share that vulnerability. Maya, who had previously relied heavily on professional songwriters, began to pour her own experiences into lyrics, finding a catharsis and a deeper connection to her art. Her stage presence, once polished but somewhat detached, began to radiate a new warmth and authenticity. Whitney taught her that the stage was not just a platform for performance, but a sacred space for communion with the audience. Look into their eyes, Maya, Whitney would say. See them. Feel their energy. Give them your heart, and they will give you theirs. Maya started to engage with her audiences on a deeper level, sharing anecdotes, making eye contact, and allowing her genuine personality to shine through. The result was electric. Her concerts became less about spectacle and more about an intimate, shared experience. One of the most significant changes was Maya's emotional resilience. The music industry was a relentless machine, and Maya had often found herself overwhelmed by criticism, social media scrutiny, and the constant pressure to maintain her image. Whitney, having navigated those treacherous waters for decades, taught her the importance of a strong inner core. Not everyone will understand your journey, Maya. Whitney explained one afternoon, as they reviewed some harsh online comments about Maya's new, more introspective musical direction. Some will try to tear you down, but their opinions are not your truth. Your truth is in your music, in your heart. You must learn to filter out the noise and listen to your own compass. Maya learned to meditate, to journal, and to spend time in nature, finding solace and strength away from the relentless demands of her career. She learned to say no, to set boundaries, and to prioritize her well-being over fleeting opportunities. This newfound inner peace translated directly into her music, imbuing it with a sense of calm power and unwavering conviction. Her second album, released a year after she began her mentorship with Whitney, was a revelation. It was still undeniably Maya, but it was a Maya transformed. The songs were richer, the lyrics more poignant, the vocals imbued with a depth of emotion that had been absent before. Critics, who had initially praised her for her raw talent, now lauded her for her artistic maturity and profound emotional intelligence. The album wasn't just a commercial success, it was a critical triumph, cementing her status as a serious artist. During a particularly challenging recording session, where Maya was struggling to capture the raw emotion of a ballad, Whitney sat beside her, offering quiet encouragement. Remember what we talked about, Maya? The vulnerability. The truth. Don't be afraid to break a little. That's where the light gets in. Maya took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and poured every ounce of her heart into the microphone. When she finished, the entire studio was silent, moved by the sheer power of her performance. "That's it, child," Whitney whispered, a proud smile on her face. That's the magic. Maya's gratitude for Whitney was boundless. She often found herself reflecting on that initial, arrogant encounter, marveling at how far she had come. The young woman who had dismissed a legend was now a student, a protege, and a friend. Whitney had not just taught her how to sing. She had taught her how to live, how to be an artist with integrity and purpose. If you're feeling inspired by Maya's journey of growth and transformation, Maya thought, imagining her story being shared with a wide audience, and you appreciate the wisdom Whitney shared, please like the video to show your support. It helps us reach more people with these powerful stories. The metamorphosis was complete. Maya Rodriguez was no longer just a pop star. She was an artist, a storyteller, a voice that carried not just melody, but meaning. And she owed it all to the woman who had seen past her arrogance and recognized the potential for greatness within her. Years passed, and Maya Rodriguez's career soared to unprecedented heights. Her albums consistently topped charts, her tours sold out stadiums worldwide, and her voice became synonymous with emotional depth and artistic integrity. But unlike her initial meteoric rise, this success was built on a foundation of authenticity and purpose, a foundation meticulously laid by Whitney Houston. Their mentorship evolved into a deep, abiding friendship. Whitney, though no longer actively performing, found immense joy and fulfillment in guiding Maya. She attended Maya's concerts, offering quiet critiques and beaming with pride. She was a constant source of wisdom, a steady anchor in the often turbulent waters of the music industry. One evening, after a particularly triumphant concert at Madison Square Garden, Maya stood backstage, bathed in the glow of adoration from thousands of fans. Whitney was there, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "You did it, Maya," Whitney said, her voice thick with emotion. "You found your voice. You found your truth." Maya embraced her mentor tightly. "I couldn't have done it without you, Whitney. You taught me everything. You saw something in me when I was too blind to see it myself." Later that night, at a celebratory dinner, Maya raised a toast. "To Whitney," she began, her voice clear and strong. To the woman who taught me that relevance isn't about fleeting trends, but about timeless truth. To the legend who showed me that true artistry comes from the heart, not just the charts. You didn't just mentor me. You transformed me. You saved me from myself. Whitney, visibly moved, simply smiled, her eyes conveying a lifetime of wisdom and love. Maya never forgot the lesson of that first encounter. She often shared the story in interviews, always with a touch of self-deprecating humor and profound gratitude. I was a foolish young singer, she would recount, who thought she knew it all. And then I met Whitney Houston, and in 10 seconds, my entire perspective shifted. She didn't just teach me how to sing. She taught me how to listen, how to feel, how to be an artist with a soul. Her humility became as much a part of her public persona as her powerful voice. She used her platform to advocate for young artists, emphasizing the importance of mentorship, authenticity, and resilience. She established a foundation in Whitney's name, dedicated to nurturing emerging talent and providing them with the guidance she had so gratefully received. The lasting impact of their relationship was immeasurable. Maya's music continued to inspire, to heal, and to connect with people across generations, much like Whitney's had. She carried Whitney's legacy forward, not by imitating her, but by embodying the principles Whitney had instilled in her: integrity, emotional honesty, and an unwavering commitment to the power of music. Years later, when Whitney Houston passed away, the world mourned the loss of an icon. But Maya mourned the loss of a mentor, a friend, a second mother. In her eulogy, delivered with a voice that trembled with grief but resonated with strength, Maya spoke of Whitney's enduring spirit. "Whitney taught me that a voice is more than just sound waves," Maya said, her eyes fixed on the casket. "It's a vessel for the human spirit. She taught me that true relevance isn't measured by awards or sales, but by the lives you touch, the hearts you open, the hope you inspire." Her voice may be silent now, but her wisdom, her love, and her unparalleled artistry will echo through eternity, carried forward by all of us whose lives she touched. Maya Rodriguez, the young singer who once dismissed Whitney Houston as irrelevant, had become a living testament to Whitney's enduring relevance. Her career was a vibrant tapestry woven with threads of Whitney's wisdom, her performances a homage to the power of a voice that dared to be vulnerable and true. The initial confrontation, born of youthful arrogance, had blossomed into a mentorship that shaped not just a career, but a soul, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of music and on the heart of a young artist. This story is a powerful reminder that even legends have lessons to teach, and that humility can open doors to incredible opportunities, Maya thought, reflecting on the narrative of her life. If you've been moved by this journey, don't miss out on more inspiring content. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more stories that celebrate the power of music and mentorship. The legacy of Whitney Houston lived on, not just in her timeless recordings, but in the artists she inspired, the lives she touched, and the profound wisdom she imparted. And Maya Rodriguez, once a brash young star, now stood as a beacon of that legacy, her voice a testament to the transformative power of a legend's grace. "We hope you found this story as inspiring as we did," Maya concluded, imagining the final words of her story being shared with the world. If it resonated with you, please like and comment below to share your thoughts and help us spread this message of humility, growth, and the enduring power of mentorship.